Buenos días y bienvenidos a nuestro programa Aprendamos Español. Hoy continuamos con la unidad 6, lección 3, parte 2. Y los objetivos para hoy son describing a series of events in past time. We're going to study the preterite of poder, tener, venir, and decir. And we're going to read about Tenochtitlán, the ancient capital of the Aztecs. Very good. And what I want to do today is, usually we have a review, but this time we're going to dedicate that time to read about Tenochtitlán. And you have this reading in your textbook on page 301. So will you please open your books to page 301? And we're going to start reading together, and I will help you. Okay. Tenochtitlán. En 1519, el conquistador Hernán Cortés llegó a Tenochtitlán, la capital del imperio azteca. Encontró allí una hermosa ciudad de más de 300,000 habitantes, más grande que las grandes ciudades europeas de la época. Okay, so in what year did Hernán Cortés arrive to Tenochtitlán? En 1519, 1519. Era la capital del imperio azteca. Encontró, he found there una hermosa ciudad, a beautiful city of more than 300,000 inhabitants, más grandes que las ciudades europeas de la época. We need to pay attention because we are going to have some questions about these cultural readings in our ACP test. So you need probably to take notes in English, okay? We'll continue. Cuando los soldados aztecas vieron los barcos de Cortés por primera vez, pensaron que eran pirámides flotantes. So when the Aztec soldiers saw the first ships of Cortés, his tripulation, his boats, for the first time, what did they think that they were? They thought that they were floating pyramids. Montezuma, el rey de los aztecas, and please don't forget that name, Montezuma, the king of the Aztecs, pensó que Cortés era Quetzalcóatl, un dios azteca que se fue en barco al este y prometió regresar algún día. So the king of the Aztec thought that Cortés was a god, an Aztec god, and that he was returning from a long trip. Pensando que era un dios, Montezuma invitó a Cortés y a sus soldados a Tenochtitlán y los recibió con muchos regalos de oro y de piedras preciosas. Thinking that he was a god, Montezuma invited Cortés and his soldiers to Tenochtitlán, and he received them with lots of gifts and presents of gold and beautiful stones, precious stones. Los españoles vivieron en el palacio de Montezuma en Tenochtitlán por 8 meses. The Spanish lived in Montezuma Palace for 8 months. Pero cuando Cortés salió de la ciudad por unos días, sus soldados, temiendo una rebelión, tomaron prisionero a Montezuma y asesinaron a cientos de indígenas. But when Cortés left the city for a few days, his soldiers, afraid of a rebellion, they took prisoner, they put in jail Montezuma, and they killed hundreds of Indians. Cuando los indígenas descubrieron que Montezuma era prisionero, se rebelaron y atacaron a los españoles. When the Aztecs discovered that Montezuma, their king, was in jail, they got very upset, and they rebelled and they attacked the Spanish. Esa noche, llamada la Noche Triste, los españoles asesinaron a Montezuma. That night, called the Sad Night, Noche Triste, don't forget that, the Spanish killed Montezuma, the king of the Aztecs. Al tratar de salir de la ciudad, hubo una gran batalla en la que murieron cientos de indígenas y españoles. When they tried to leave the city, there was a great battle, a big battle, in which many hundreds of Spanish and Aztecs died. En agosto de 1521, Cortés regresó a Tenochtitlán con los soldados españoles que sobrevivieron la Noche Triste y con cientos de indígenas tlaxcalanes, enemigos de los aztecas. In August of 1521, Cortés returned to Tenochtitlan with the soldiers, with his Spanish soldiers, the ones that survived La Noche Triste, and with hundreds of other Indians, this one called Tlaxcalanes, enemies of the Aztecs. Poco a poco, little by little, y destruyendo todo en su camino, and destroying everything on his way, Cortés conquistó Tenochtitlán. Cortés conquered Tenochtitlán. Sobre sus ruinas construyó una ciudad de estilo europeo. Over its ruins, he built a city of a European style. La ciudad que hoy llamamos la Ciudad de México. And this is the city that today we call Ciudad México. Hoy México DF, today Mexico Federal District. Es la ciudad más grande del mundo. Is the biggest city in the world. Con 20 millones de habitantes. With 20 millions of inhabitants. Recientemente, más de 3 siglos después del descubrimiento de América, recently, more than 3 centuries after America was discovered, se empezaron a descubrir antiguos monumentos de la original Tenochtitlán. They started discovering antique, very old monuments of the original city, Tenochtitlan. And that's the story behind Tenochtitlan. And like I said, in your semester exam, you're going to have questions about culture and about history. And this is one of the very, very important areas that you need to remember. You need to remember Cortés, Montezuma, who was Montezuma, and remember, by the way, that we have said that Mexico is the biggest city in the world with a population of 20 million. So there are a lot of details for you to study from this reading. And to the facilitators, there are some questions on that area on page 300. Please make sure that you go through these comprehensive questions with the students. The answers are in the TE, and make sure that they understand the whole story behind Mexico City DF, Distrito Federal. Very good. Now, how about if we return to our grammar subjects? Remember last time we were talking about the past tense. And with the past tense, we need to keep working with some verbs in the preterite or in the past. And one of the verbs is poder, another one is tener, and venir. So please turn to page 294 and 295. We're going to look on page 294 first, and let's study the verb poder in the past. And the first person, yo pude. Yo pude. Pude. Tú pudiste. Él o usted o ella pudo. Nosotros pudimos. Ustedes pudieron y ellos y ellas pudieron. So let's do it. I want you to listen and repeat after me. Yo pude. Tú pudiste. Él, ella o usted pudo. Nosotros pudimos. Ustedes, ellos y ellas pudieron. And what does poder mean? Poder means to be able to, can, C-A-N, or to be able to do something. Poder. And look at the question. ¿Pudo ayudarte Javier? ¿Pudo ayudarte Javier? Did Javier was able to help you? Ayudar, remember what ayudar means? It means to help. Ayudar means to help you. Ayudarte. Was Javier able to help you? Or los niños no pudieron ir. The children couldn't go. They could not go. No pudieron ir. And for more information about this verb, the book tells you to look on page G91. G91. Right underneath, we have the verb tener. And I want you to listen and repeat. Yo tuve. Tú tuviste. Usted, él o ella tuvo. Nosotros tuvimos. Ustedes tuvieron. Ellos tuvieron. And tener is to have. So this is the past tense of to have, which is had. I had. So how do you say we had? Nosotros tuvimos. So, no tuve bastante dinero. I didn't have enough money. See that statement down there? It says, no tuve bastante dinero. I didn't have enough money. Where is I? It doesn't show. It's understood by the ending of the verb. Tener, tuve. This verb here says that this is the first person who is speaking. No tuve bastante, enough, bastante dinero, money. Ustedes tuvieron que ir. Ustedes tuvieron que ir. Did you have to go? Did you have to go? Tuvieron. Again, for more information, please look on page G91, section 6.4. So, tener, to have. In the past, had. Poder, to be able to, can, like C-A-N in English. Poder, pudo. Pudo, pudiste. How about one more? Venir. On the opposite page, look at the verb venir. We also need to memorize the past tense of the verb venir. So let's take a look at the book. And I want everybody to listen and repeat. Yo vine, tú viniste, usted vino, él vino, ella vino, nosotros vinimos, ellos vinieron, ustedes vinieron. Now look at the statement. Yo vine sola. Venir is to come. So vine is I came alone, by myself. Yo vine sola. You can also delete yo and say just vine sola. And that's perfect. I came alone, by myself. Look at the question. ¿Vinieron todos los invitados? ¿Vinieron todos los invitados? Did all the guests come? Did they come? ¿Vinieron todos los invitados? Invitados are guests. All. Todos. Did they come? ¿Vinieron todos los invitados? So, vine, viniste, vino, vino, vinimos, vinieron, vinieron. Good. And now we're going to do a little guided practice. Like always, I'm going to start the exercise to show you, to demonstrate you how to do it. We're going to work together, and then you will take some time after the program ends and keep working with the exercises. And these verbs are very important because they are going to be in today's video. So for you to understand the video, you need to learn these verbs. So the first exercise is exercise C on page 294. Let's take a look. We're going to do the first three. All right, let me read the instructions to you. Your books are open on page 294. And you are watching the first one, Ernesto. The instructions reads, no tuvimos tiempo. We didn't have time. Todos tenemos buenas intenciones, pero no siempre hacemos lo que queremos hacer. We all always have good intentions, but we don't do what we want to do. ¿Qué cosa no tuvieron tiempo de hacer estas personas? What things these people were not able to do? Okay, now look at the model. You still have your books there open so you can see it. Javier, and he's watching TV. Now we're going to say that he didn't have time to watch TV or to watch the program. And your model says, your example says, Javier no tuvo tiempo de ver el programa. Javier no tuvo tiempo de ver el programa. We are practicing using the verb tener in the past, to have, had. He didn't have time to watch the program. Let's do Ernesto. Look what Ernesto is doing and tell me that he didn't have time. Take a couple of seconds first. And I'm going to do that here so that it will show the answer. Can you tell me what it was that he didn't have time? All right, let's take a look at the answer. Ernesto no tuvo tiempo de escuchar la radio. Ernesto no tuvo tiempo de escuchar la radio. He didn't have time to listen to the radio. Very good. So he wanted to, but he couldn't. Ernesto no tuvo tiempo de escuchar la radio. All right, let's take a look at number 2. Número 2. Número 2 dice yo. Número 2 dice yo. And he's taking a nap there. He's taking a nap. So how do you say to take a nap? Do you remember? Well, think a little, and I will show you the answer, but first think. I want you to think. Try. All right, let's take a look at the answer. Yo no tuve tiempo de dormir, and I have a slash there, o tomar la siesta, which means that you can either say, yo no tuve tiempo de dormir la siesta, or you can also say, yo no tuve tiempo de tomar la siesta. I didn't have time to take a nap. I didn't have time to take a nap. Yo no tuve tiempo de dormir o tomar la siesta. Let's take a look at number 3. And number 3, we love to do that, don't we? We always love to talk on the phone. Andrés y yo. Let's see if they were talking and they didn't have time to talk on the phone. How could you say that in Spanish? We. Number 1, we know that the subject is we, because whenever, and this is very important, student, whenever you have a name here, a subject here, and the first person is together with that other subject, the subject pronoun that you use is nosotros, is we. So Andrés y yo, okay, let's see the answer. Andrés y yo no tuvimos tiempo de hablar por teléfono. Very good. Andrés y yo no tuvimos. We didn't have time to talk on the phone. In English you say on. In Spanish you say por, by. So the prepositions that we use are different from the ones in English, but the meaning is the same. Let's say one more time. Andrés y yo no tuvimos tiempo de hablar por teléfono. Very good. See, and that's the way that I want you to keep working with the exercise, so you can have plenty of practice using the verb tener in the past. Let's do another exercise. Let's keep practicing. Now, I want you to look on page 295, exercise che, the C and the H, remember, che, that letter of the alphabet. Ejercicio che, página 295. ¿Listos? Let me read the instructions. ¿Por qué no? Pregúntele o pregúntale a tu compañero por qué no hizo estas cosas anoche. And I want you to look at the model. Example, hacer la tarea. We're going to ask your friend why he or she didn't do the things last night. And the question in your exercise, in your example is, ¿por qué no hiciste la tarea? ¿Por qué no hiciste la tarea? Why didn't you do the homework? And the answer is, no pude hacer la tarea porque tuve que, and you can come up with something else. You need to finish this statement. And no pude hacer la tarea, you know that now pude means I could not do the homework because I had to. No pude hacer la tarea porque tuve que. And I want you to observe that we're mixing here more than one verb in the past. Poder and tener. Okay? And this is a very helpful phrase that we should learn by heart. All right. Let's take a look at, we're only going to do a few. Just number 1. Let's take a look at number 1. Ver televisión. Ver televisión. I'm going to ask you now, okay? I want you to ask the question first. And look at your example. Follow the example. And if you're following the example, you're going to come with this answer. Let's take a look at the monitor. ¿Por qué no viste televisión? Very good. Remember, we have to use the past tense of ver. So if you use ver in the present or in the infinitive form, now you know what to do. Why didn't you watch TV? ¿Por qué no viste televisión? Here in Texas, they say mirar. They use the verb mirar and they say miraste. ¿Por qué no miraste la televisión? But either or, it's fine. No problem. ¿Por qué no viste la televisión? Now, I want a negative answer, exactly like in the model. What could you answer? Okay, have you had enough time to think? Let's see the answer for this question. No pude ver la tele porque tuve que. And I want to hear all of the different excuses that you are saying right now. And this means I couldn't watch TV. And remember, tele is short for televisión. It's a Spanish word and it's very good word, tele, short for televisión. No pude ver la tele porque tuve que. Well, I'll tell you a secret. In my case, yo tuve que cocinar. I had to cook. Tuve que cocinar. So whatever comes after que, whatever goes right there beside que, it has to be in the infinitive form. Let's do number 2. Practicar el piano. Now, ask your friend, why didn't he or she practice the piano or playing piano? What happened? Why? What happened? Why they couldn't practice the piano? And the question is, take a look. ¿Por qué no practicaste el piano? Did you remember the past tense of the verb practicar? Great, very good. ¿Por qué no practicaste el piano? Why didn't you practice the piano? I want you to observe. Again, I don't get tired of repeating. We don't have the auxiliary did in Spanish. All right? So we change the verb to the past. ¿Por qué no practicaste el piano? Now, give me a good excuse. And let's take a look at the monitor, and it should be like, no pude practicar el piano porque tuve que. I couldn't practice the piano or playing the piano because I had to what? Give me an activity. No pude practicar el piano porque tuve que estudiar. Remember, whatever activity comes after que, it has to be in the infinitive form because you already conjugated the verb tener. See where it says tuve? So the next verb, it has to be like in English because I had to study. That's in the infinitive. So, no pude practicar el piano porque tuve que estudiar o ayudar a mi mamá o limpiar la casa, whatever you want to write there. And let's do number 3. Okay, this is a little bit long here. Estudiar para un examen. I want you to ask your friend or ask me, why didn't he or she study for the test? And the question should look like, ¿por qué no estudiaste para el examen? See, all we have to remember is the ending of the past tense for the different verbs. In this case, ver, it's a ER verb, practicar, AR. And we introduced this a long time ago, and if you're having trouble, my advice is go to the back of the book and review the endings of the past tense. ¿Por qué no estudiaste para el examen? Why didn't you study for the test? The word you, it's understood with the form of the verb, estudiaste. And what answer could you tell me? Give me an answer. All right, let's take a look at the monitors. No pude estudiar. I couldn't. I could not study para el examen porque tuve que, for the test, because I had to what? Anything you want to say, any action that you did, something else that you had to do, it has to be in infinitive. For example, no pude estudiar para el examen porque tuve que ayudar a mi mamá. I had to help my mother. No pude estudiar para el examen porque tuve que ir de compras, because I had to go shopping. O no pude estudiar para el examen porque tuve que, whatever you want to say. Whatever you want to say, but you need to finish these questions. Muy bien, I think you're doing a great job, and you keep working with these exercises, all right? Now, we haven't done means of transportation. Perhaps we have learned some, but not all. So that's our next topic. Would you please open your notebooks and take notes now? And I want you to title this page, Medio o medios de transportación o de transporte. Medios de transporte. All right? Número 1. Let's do the first one. Número 1. En auto. En auto. And that means by car. You say by, I say en. En auto. Número 2. En carro. And what's the difference? Is there any difference in there, en carro? No. It says in some Latin American countries, they call the car carro, and in others they say auto o automóvil. Muy bien. Próximo. En tren. En tren. And that one, I don't even have to say. You know what it means. Train, by train. Next one. En avión. You say on the plane, and I say in the plane. En avión. Avión, airplane. Write it down. Avión, airplane. Next. En calandria, that's one word that they use in Mexico for the carriage. Or en coche is another word that they use in Latin America for that carriage. Remember? En calandria o en coche. Very good. Calandria o en coche. Next. En motocicleta. En motocicleta. O moto. They make it short. Moto. En motora. Some people say motora. Motorcycle. Motocicleta o moto. Motorcycle. If you don't have any real mechanic means of transportation, then look at the next one. A pie, on foot. You go a pie, on foot. You walk. A pie. No pie. A pie. A pie. Muy bien. One more. En bote. And what does that sound to you? Yeah. In a boat. You say in, I say en. En bote. And the last one we already know, and that is bicicleta. En bicicleta. En bicicleta. Muy bien. Now let's do together a short exercise on page 296, exercise F. Page 296, exercise F. Okay, let's take a look. And I will read the instructions. Aniversario. Anniversary. ¿En qué tipo de transporte vinieron los invitados a celebrar el aniversario de tus padres? In which type or kind of means of transportation did the guest come to celebrate the anniversary or your parents' anniversary, the anniversary of your parents or your parents' anniversary. Example, Norma vino en bicicleta. Norma came on a bicycle. Okay. Number 1, Inés. Let's do Inés, and I want you to look at the example and do one close, very close to that one. Look at the subject. Be careful with the conjugation of the subject. Give me the right subject. And the answer is Inés vino en tren. So how many of you got it right? Very good. Muy bien. Muy bien. I see a lot of hands up. Muy bien. Inés vino en tren. How about number 2? Luis y Luz. Careful. Now we have a plural subject. Luis y Luz. And that's the bus in case that you cannot guess exactly what that is. And look at the answer. Luis y Luz vinieron en autobús. Did you remember that accent? Qué bueno, me alegro. Están haciendo un buen trabajo. You're doing a good job. Luis y Luz vinieron en autobús. And now, number 3, yo, and there is an airplane. So, how did I come here to the party? You're going to talk about you, first person, yo. And look at the answer. Yo vine en avión. Yo vine en avión. Very good. So just keep working with that exercise, and most of all, it's very important that you remember that preposition that I used in front of the means of transportation, medios de transporte. There is one more verb that we have to do before we're ready to go into our video for today, and that verb is the verb decir, to say or to tell. And that's on page 296 on the margin, so we can do it quickly. Let's take a look. It's an irregular verb. Look. Dije. Dije. Dijiste. Dijiste. Dijo. Dijo. Dijimos. This J sounds like an H. Dijimos. Dijeron. Dijeron. And this is the past tense of decir, and decir means to say or to tell. Example, no dijo la verdad. He or she didn't tell the truth. He or she didn't tell or say the truth. In this case, tell the truth. They didn't. He didn't. No dijo la verdad. Verdad is truth. ¿Qué dijeron sus padres? ¿Qué dijeron sus padres? Are you repeating after me? ¿Qué dijeron sus padres? What did his or her parents say? What did they say? What did they say? ¿Qué dijeron? ¿Qué dijeron sus padres? Good. So you keep working with this verb, and it would be good if you take a page and write all to practice these verbs in that page and show it to your facilitator. I'm pretty sure she can reward you with some extra points. Now we're ready for that video. And today's video is ¿Qué decimos? ¿Qué decimos al describir una aventura? So let's watch the video.
¿Qué decimos al describir una aventura? Mónica cuenta lo que pasó cuando tomó el camión en Tlaquepaque.
Gracias a Dios, Mónica. Por fin regresaste. ¿Por qué tardaste tanto? ¿Qué hiciste?
Es que tuvimos un problema en Tlaquepaque. Por mis paquetes, no pudimos subir todos al coche. Y Oscar y yo tuvimos que regresar en camión.
Bueno, no hay nada de malo en eso.
Pues tuvimos que esperar un buen rato. Y mientras tanto, pensé en otro regalo para mi mamá.
Ay, Mónica.
Entré a una tienda a comprar el regalo. Solo fue un momento, así que no le dije nada a Oscar.
¿Y qué pasó?
Al salir de la tienda, vi el camión. Busqué a Oscar, pero no lo encontré.
No me digas.
Sí, me tuve que subir.
¿Y Oscar?
Pues él me oyó subir y empezó a correr hacia el camión.
Ay, no. ¿Lo dejaste allá en Tlaquepaque?
Pues no hubo más remedio. ¿Hasta que
qué? Cuéntame.
Hasta que Oscar decidió correr tras el camión. Corrió y corrió, pero no pudo alcanzarnos hasta la siguiente parada. Gritó, pero el chofer no lo oyó y siguió adelante.
¡Qué barbaridad! ¿Y qué hizo entonces?
Desesperado, Oscar golpeó la puerta del camión y por fin el chofer lo vio y paró el camión.
Gracias a Dios. Pero qué locura.
Qué valiente, ¿verdad? Ay, doña Rosario, Oscar es mi héroe. Es como Popocatépetl, la leyenda que contaron en el avión.
Sí, Mónica. Mi sobrino es... Pero no sé. Tú y tus compras.
So let's find out what happened to Oscar and Monica and why did they stay behind. Let's take a look. Page 292, ¿qué decimos al describir una aventura? Tuvimos que regresar en camión. Gracias a Dios, Mónica. Por fin regresaste. Finally you are back. ¿Por qué tardaste tanto? ¿Qué hiciste? Es que tuvimos un problema en Tlaquepaque. Es que tuvimos un problema en Tlaquepaque. Por mis paquetes no pudimos subir todo. Remember, paquetes are packages. Al coche. Y Oscar y yo tuvimos que regresar en camión. Camión, again, in Mexico means bus. Bueno, no hay nada de malo en eso. Well, there is nothing wrong in that. Pues, tuvimos que esperar un buen rato y mientras tanto pensé en otro regalo para mi mamá. Well, we had to wait for a long time. And in the meantime, I thought about another gift for my mother. Ay, Mónica. All right, let's take a look at number 2. It's titled, No le dije nada a Oscar. So, entré a una tienda a comprar el regalo. I went into a store to buy the present. Solo un momento. Just for a minute or a moment. Así que no le dije nada a Oscar. So I didn't say anything to Oscar. Ay, ¿y qué pasó? Al salir de la tienda, vi el camión. When I left the store, I saw the bus. Busqué a Oscar. I looked for Oscar, pero no lo encontré. But I didn't find it. No me digas. Don't you say. Sí, y tuve que subir. And I had to get on the bus. Pues él me vio subir y empezó a correr hacia el camión, ¿sí? Y Oscar, and she says, él me vio, he saw me get on the bus, and he started running after the bus, or toward the bus. Okay? So this Monica, she likes to buy too much. She didn't tell him where she went to buy that present, and let's see what happened. Cuéntame. Pues no hubo más remedio hasta que... Ay, no, ¿lo dejaste allá en Tlaquepaque? Pues no hubo más remedio hasta que... So she's asking if he was left over there in that city, Tlaquepaque. Hasta que... ¿Qué? Until what? Tell me, cuéntame. Hasta que Oscar decidió correr tras el camión. Until Oscar decided to run behind the bus. Corrió y corrió. He ran and he ran. Pero no pudo alcanzarnos hasta la siguiente parada. But he couldn't catch us. Gritó, pero el chofer no lo oyó y siguió adelante. He screamed, but the conductor didn't hear him. ¡Qué barbaridad! ¿Y qué hizo entonces? Desesperado, Oscar golpeó la puerta del camión y por fin el chofer lo vio y paró el camión. Gracias a Dios. Pero ¡qué locura! And then look what she says. ¡Qué valiente! How courageous, isn't it? Ay, doña Rosario, Oscar es mi héroe. Es como Popocatépetl de la leyenda que contaron en el avión. So he compares Oscar to the hero, Popocatépetl. Sí, Mónica, mi sobrino es, pero no sé. But I don't know. Tú y tus compras. You and your shopping. So Monica likes to shop too much, to the point that look what happened. Okay? Now let's take a little time to explain, to give you the homework and the classwork. The classwork for today is páginas 283, 285. 283, 285. And your homework, tarea, páginas 287, 288, 289 y 290. Okay. Now, do you remember that point of saying goodbye? We don't have more time for today. So how about if we say goodbye reading this poem? Despedida. Adiós decimos cuando nos vamos. Adiós amigos. Adiós hermanos. Hasta la vista o hasta luego. Hasta muy pronto o ya nos vemos. Y a todo el mundo con dulce voz, al despedirme, le digo adiós, adiós, hasta pronto.